How do you feel about the transition lately? There's been some weird stuff coming about Biden, right? How he's handling it.
Yeah, but I mean, well, now you're hearing, what was the article today? And well, it turns out that Joe Biden was actually pretty senile, and aides had to try to spoon feed him basic answers, and we had to keep meetings to 3 or 4 minutes because, I'm like, I've been saying this for a year. I've been saying this since, we ran against him in 20. I'm like, there is something way off here.
Right.
And the fact that they hid that from the American people, these stories are coming out now, being honest about what's clearly some form of dementia or whatever it is. Like, everyone saw it. Like, I got criticized. Like, you're being ageist because I'm like, no, the guy's the president of the United States. He's in charge of the nuclear football. Like, if American lives are in danger, he's the guy getting a call at 3 o'clock in the morning. He got lost on stage 3 times this week.
Are you serious?
Well,
I didn't see that.
No, not this week. I'm just saying over the last 4 years. I mean, it was like every week I'd do like a parody of him getting like confused and lost on a stage, or like everyone saw it.
Yeah.
And you'd watch, Joe Scarborough. This is actually the best Joe Biden's ever been in his career. I'm like, really? Does anyone actually believe that? Like, watching that sort of propaganda, go out there, was both scary, but I think important. I think honestly, had they thrown him, sort of under the bus earlier, maybe they could have gotten away with it. Maybe they could have gotten some other sort of puppet candidate in there,
Yeah.
And perpetuated, a lot of this. So I think Americans do want to know who is actually running the country right now. It's not Joe Biden. I mean, Jill Biden did more campaign stops than him in Iowa during the primaries. It's like, why is the first lady doing more campaign stops than the actual candidate? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But, I think the tell-all books that will come out shortly, as people from that administration start to do the grift thing, are going to be pretty epic. And I think it's going to be pretty scary when Americans figure out just how bad it actually was, because it's probably worse than I even imagined, and I've probably been pretty vocal about it for quite some time.
And you're on the inside. There's going to be some stories.
But like, we saw them all transpire.
No.
I got fact check on social media. I did one of those where, like, he went and like the crowd is that way, and he did a 180, and there's just a curtain, and he's like trying to shake hands with like an imaginary person. I'm like, there he is.
Yeah.
Like, no, he wasn't shaking hands with them, and he was pointing to the crowd. I go, the crowd was opposite. Like, it's on TV. Like, I'm supposed to not believe what my eyes are showing me. Like, the desperation to try to cover up was pretty crazy, but still effective. Because, the reality is, like, for me, I do this every day now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Americans that are just, they have a hard time just, feeding their families, trying to survive on, between the inflationary stuff, what I call, the Biden-Harris cost of living crisis. It's become problematic for a lot. They don't have time to pay attention to it every day. And if you're just sort of listening to that mainstream narrative as your 5 minutes of news consumption a day, maybe you don't realize it. But I think so much of that's changed. I mean, the lies have just gotten so bad that people are actually paying attention. I think that's really important. People do need to pay attention to what's going on.
I mean, the lies are crazy. Why did it take 3 years to find out there's 26 undercover agents at the J6 raid?
Yeah. I said it like early when I'm like, well, it seems like they're opening the doors to people. Why won't they release the videos? Because why won't they do all of these things? Like, why can't we just have transparency? I mean, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, it's like, the alleged bomb at the RNC and DNC. Like, well, so why'd Secret Service pass by it a few times? There was never a problem with the bomb sniffing dogs. Like, I've been to the Secret Service training program in I guess Maryland or Virginia. I've watched the dogs work. I actually got in a bite suit to see the attack dogs as well as there's no way they missed that.
Right.
Unless it wasn't real. Or it was a setup, or that was the backup plan. How did that story, if there was a bomb outside the DNC and the RNC, and the vice president-elect was at the DNC, why didn't that become a story if it wasn't like a backup plan for like, hey, we were able to instigate something else? That's a really big deal.
Yeah.
A bomb outside the DNC, and it's like, gone. No, we don't want to get into the details. The video imagery gets reduced to a level that people can't really see the details anymore. How is that possible? It, like, crazy. To the level of like cameras from like the 70s, like, that's not what those cameras were. Why can't we see that?
Yeah.
Same with Russia. The phones of all the people that were working on it, we lost all the text messages. You see what's going on with the January 6th committee now.
Yep.
You have members of those committees clearly witness tampering.
Yep.
To try to get a result. And I was like, at the time, I'm like, and I did 10 hours of congressional testimony on that one too. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me that there's someone that says that my father was able to and attempted to try to disarm two heavily armed young Secret Service agents to take over the beast and drive it down to see his support. Like,
Crazy.
does anyone really, like, but that was the narrative.
Yep.
Like, like, by the way, if he was able to do that, I'd actually be more impressed. If a 75-year-old guy at the time could beat the hell out of like two heavily armed, well-trained Secret Service agents, take over the presidential limo, and that thing's so body armored, it's not that easy to crawl over that. I'm like, imagine actually believing that.
Yeah.
But they sold it for months. You know, now it turns out it's all one big lie. And, you know, they, in the last CR, we can't have anyone to be compelled in Congress to testify about these things. You mean, like, the people who represent us just get a clean pass? They can lie, they can manipulate that, and we're going to give them that pass in a continuing resolution so that we can never actually find out the truth? I mean, that's scary stuff, man. Like,
it makes you wonder if he lost.
It's a dystopian society.
No, it really makes you wonder if he lost, would the truth have ever come out?
100% no. I mean, I think that was their real hope. It's like, hey, we can just bury that. I think they're still trying to do it. I mean, that they tried to do it yesterday, right?
It's just weird timing.
Christopher Wray resigns the day. It's just all so convenient, right? There's all of these things, right? You talk about sort of the first assassination attempt of my father. Like, you know, I know these guys well. A lot of that, let's call it like the door kicker level guys at the Secret Service are awesome guys. I had a detail for 4 years. These will be friends for life. These are true patriots, great guys. But like, the fact that leadership would put a bunch of people that aren't trained, and then they put local guys, and then no one's on the same radio channels. Like, there is no scenario imaginable where an armed shooter is known for 10 minutes, and they still allow the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party to get on a stage. Then he's on a roof for multiple minutes, and no one knows. And the roof happens to be inside 150 yards.
Yeah.
And it's the high ground. Like this is history 101. Like, you always guard the high ground. Like, you never cede the high ground. Yeah. Like, this is not something that those guys don't know, but like, that is clearly a leadership failure. And I don't believe there's that level of coincidence. Like, and then how many super radicalized 20-year-old kids, Sean, do you know that have zero social media footprint? It's like they were radicalized out of.
I don't know any, and I don't know anyone.
This is the world in which we play.
Yeah.
I mean, it, like, of course, like, no digital footprint whatsoever. He just wanted to assassinate someone out of thin air, and then magically the body is cremated within hours, and it's like,
interesting.
I mean, it's so implausible if you look at all of the facts of all of these things to not assume sort of the worst, right? I mean, the conspiracy theorists have been batting, you know, let's call it virtually 1,000 for the last few years. Sometimes it just takes a few months to realize it, right? The big one I always used in my stump speeches was like, of course Wuhan virus started in Wuhan in the lab that studies the exact virus. And if you said that, though, and you were in academia, or if you had a government grant, you were out.
Same with Lyme disease.
Look, of course. Like, by the way, having had Lyme, it's brutal. Like, you know, when it comes back, like, you know, because I lived in, you know, in Connecticut and Bedford, you know, within 50 miles of like Lyme, Connecticut. I grew up there. Like, of course it came there. Like, and came from the lab that studies these bioweapons over there. That's literally the closest access point across the Long Island Sound from that. And it's like, of course that happened. Like, so yeah, it's happened so much and to such a great extent that, it's important. It almost feels like addiction, right? You have to kind of hit rock bottom before you can recover. And I think we're getting to the point where like Americans are realizing that we've hit rock bottom, that they're starting to pay attention, that they're watching for the signs. They're not just getting believing the lies that they're spoon-fed. Yeah. They're actually questioning them. And once we question things, I think that's how we get to real answers.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode.